Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled Colorado 2001 to 2025, the decision that never stopped echoing. What if in 2001 Colorado did not panic? They didn't chase a savior, they didn't try to win headlines. They made a decision that felt boring, and that's exactly why it broke everything. Because over the next 24 years, while conferences collapsed, brands overreached, and chaos became the norm, Colorado didn't win louder, they just stayed standing. And that turned out to be far more dangerous. Now let's set the table for why 2001 matters. Here's a key thing people forget about Colorado in 2001. They weren't desperate, they weren't rebuilding from nothing, they were successful and uneasy. The Big 12 was already drifting towards imbalance. Texas was getting louder. Nebraska was losing its grip. The North still existed, but no longer felt protected. Colorado's real problem wasn't wins, it was control. So instead of swinging big, they hired a coach whose entire value proposition was this: we don't spike, we won't vanish. We will be here every year. At the time, that sounded safe. In hindsight, it was destabilizing. And that sets the table for the early validation from 2001 to 2004. It's not pure domination. That's important. 2001 is solid, competitive, and no collapse. The next year, 9 wins, top 20 credibility. 2003, 10 wins, a Big 12 North title. 2004, a slight dip, but no slide. And you may be thinking to yourself, okay, so far this just sounds normal. Exactly. Because the chaos doesn't come from Colorado changing, it comes from everyone realizing Colorado won't. Nebraska can't count on regression. Texas can't dismiss them as cyclical. Oklahoma starts seeing fewer controllable outcomes. And quietly, the Big 12 loses something it depended on: a compliant middle. And this is where the conference starts making mistakes. And that sets the table to the first panic, and that is 2005 to 2008 era Nebraska. Here's where this universe diverges from real life in an important way. Nebraska doesn't panic because it's bad. Nebraska panics because it's no longer singular. Colorado keeps winning 9 to 10 games. Recruiting overlaps tighten. The North stops feeling like inherited territory. So Nebraska does something subtle but irreversible. They stop treating the Big 12 as permanent. By 2008, feasibility studies begin. Not press leaks, paperwork, and this is crucial. Colorado notices, and they do absolutely nothing. No lobbying, no alliance building, no emotional reaction. That silence matters later. Now you may be thinking to yourself, but Nebraska leaving happened anyway in real life. Yes, that's true, but timing and motive matter. In this universe, Nebraska leaves earlier. They leave less confident and leave without Colorado collapsing first. That changes who gets blamed and, more importantly, who doesn't. And that sets the table for the Texas overplay from 2009 to 2011. Texas reads instability as opportunity. That's a mistake. Instead of stabilizing the league, Texas accelerates revenue control, media leverage, and governance pressure. They assume everyone needs us more than we need them. But Colorado doesn't need Texas. They're winning, they're neutral, they're listening. On the field, the 2009 to 2010 version, Colorado wins 9 to 10 games. They have no drama, no scandal, no urgency. And that creates the most dangerous thing in conference politics: a school that can afford to wait. And this is where Oklahoma goes quiet. In the 2010 to 2011 window, Oklahoma does not posture. They don't say they're going to leave. They simply stop investing emotionally. The Big 12 becomes a container, not a home. And when that happens, the league is already finished, even if the games keep playing. Colorado sees this too, and now they know something critical. The next move won't be loud, it will be selective. And you may be thinking to yourself, isn't this just Colorado going to the pack like in real life? Superficially, yes. Structurally, no. In real life, Colorado fled instability, joined as a damaged asset, and entered mid-collapse. This universe, Colorado's invited. They join from strength. They become the keystone, not the add-on. That changes everything. The pack doesn't rescue Colorado. Colorado stabilizes the pack. And that transitions to the 2012 to 2015 era, where Colorado's transition to the pack works faster than expected. In 2012, they get 8 wins and they're credible immediately. 2013, 9 wins and recruiting expands. 2014, 10 wins and a title game appearance. 2015, no drop off narrative. Colorado does not dominate. They normalize success. And that's the through line of this universe. Now the playoff era tests the decision. And this is the most important modern inflection point. 2018, Colorado goes 11-2, strong wins, one close loss, and ends up ranked in the top 7. They don't make the playoff. And somehow that's perfect because the takeaway isn't that Colorado was deprived of a playoff spot. It's that Colorado stressed the system without breaking it. They're now part of the access conversation, not as a guest, not as a novelty, as a factor. Now you'd be thinking to yourself, isn't this too optimistic for Colorado long term? Notice what doesn't happen. There's no dynasty, no takeover, no permanent top 5 status. They don't even win the era. They survive it. And going into the 2020s, here's the final irony. The NIL and Super Conference era rewards stability, administration, markets, and credibility. Colorado has all 4. While others scramble, Colorado stays boring. 8 to 10 wins, no existential issues, still invited to every table. And that's when you realize this decision never stopped paying dividends. Now, Colorado did not win louder. They didn't chase moments. They made one decision in 2001 that removed urgency from their future. And while everyone else spent 20 years reacting, overcorrecting, and panicking, Colorado just kept existing in rooms others were desperate to enter. That's not a fairy tale. That's institutional power. If you enjoyed this universe, like, comment, subscribe, because the scariest changes in college football history were never the loud ones. They were the quiet decisions that never stopped echoing.